I'm here to make a prediction on the future of light bulbs. See if you agree with me. I'll go over my logic and see if you concur. Leave me a comment in the bottom whether you agree or disagree. What I've found in my life is that costs are the number one thing that will drive the success of a product. And a lot of times it's cost both with the consumer and with the manufacturer. Now, that's what I'm going to base my prediction on. So let's consider the overall cost of these things. This one is clearly much smaller. It uses much less material. In fact, I'll go weigh these on our kitchen scale and see what the weight difference is, and that'll just give us a very rough idea, obviously, in the amount of material used. But this one is obviously much smaller than this one. This one's obviously smaller than this one. So we clearly have less material here. Now, the base on this one's about 1 inch in diameter, and this one's about 1/2 inch in diameter. That means this is about 3 inches around, and this is about half of that. So I've got roughly half the material in this one that I have in this one. Okay, so when you're producing millions of light bulbs, that's going to make a big difference. Let's weigh our bulbs. It just started raining, so you're going to hear some noise in the background. A little bit over 50 grams, we'll call that one. See if I can get it to hold still. And this one's 30 some grams. And that one is roughly, call it 15, somewhere under 20, 15 grams. Let's consider shipping costs. Now, I mean, I can get roughly 5 of these in the same space as I get this, and this one weighs quite a bit less. Spoiler alert, this one weighs quite a bit less than this one. So as you all know from shipping Christmas presents or whatever around, that the two things that the shipping company looks for is weight and volume. So as a manufacturer and as a shipper, I am going to look at this and I'm going to say I can keep 5 of these and I can ship 5 of these for the same price I ship one of these. So again, cost is going to make a huge difference in the shipping and inventory of these products, favoring obviously this one. Okay, we've talked about materials in here and the cost of that, and what about the materials in this thing? This is the socket. This socket was designed for an old incandescent bulb. It's ceramic. It will handle many amps, probably 3 amps at least, and a lot of heat. No longer necessary. So the expensive process of producing a ceramic, firing it and all that stuff, plus the heavy duty electrical contacts inside here, no longer necessary with bulbs like this. Now, this was made for this. But if we look at that thing. I mean, look at the number of, the amount of material that's not necessary in a base for this style of bulb. I mean, it's just ridiculous. So the cost savings are going to occur here in the fixtures. So when the homeowner goes to buy a fixture, that's going to be reflected in the cost of these sockets, as well as the overall size of the fixture. Obviously, light fixtures like this that are made to handle 3 of those average size bulbs can be shrunk down. A lot less material in the glass in this case, or plastic covers, in the base, and again in the sockets and in the wiring. So overall, there's going to be cost savings from the fixture standpoint. Plus, there's going to be ability for architects, designers, and so forth to create new lights, and we've already seen that. I mean, there's a lot of different style of lights now coming out that are enabled by the fact that you're using a bulb this big instead of a bulb that big. I've put together some really simple comparison data with these 3 light bulbs. So over here is the bulb, and the first one's the small one, the second one's the mid-sized bulb we looked at, so we've got pictures over here to remind us. And then the big bulb. Okay, so first of all, the watts are 5, 8, and 7, and you may say, well, that's not a fair comparison, but I'll deal with that in a little bit. I got another slide. I got only 2 slides, but the second one will normalize this. We'll kind of do a scale, like with scale modeling. We'll make these all like equivalent. So the first thing is weight, and that affects our shipping. The first one is 15 grams as we measured on the scale. The next one is 35 grams as we measured, and the next one is 50 grams.
I mean, the second one is more than twice the weight of this one, and this one is what, another 50% higher than this one, and this one is 3 times this, but you'll notice that the wattage, which equates to the brightness, is not 3 times. So right there we have an indication that things aren't going to go so well. Okay, the box volume. So this is the minimum size box that we could stick something in like this, and in cubic centimeters, and this affects shipping and inventory. So yeah, I mean, this is how many we can ship in a box, and this is how many we can store in our warehouse. The 5.5 cubic centimeters, that's pretty small. The next one is 5 times bigger, I guess, than this one. And the next one is double this, and 12 times, almost 12 times, 11 times this. So yeah, we're starting to see what's going on here. It's not going to go well. Okay, so the next one is watts per volume. So this is a brightness efficiency measurement, and so this is basically how bright it is per the size. So ideally you want this thing to be really tiny and produce the same amount of light as a bigger bulb. That's the most efficient thing you can do, at least as far as the space it takes up. Okay, so we have this one is 0.91, which is pretty good. This one is 0.27, so we're about 1/3. And this is 0.11, which isn't even half of this one. So yeah, the amount of light we're producing per the size of the bulb is yeah, not very good. So again, this measurement favors the smallest bulb. Weight per volume. So this is a measurement of shipping efficiency. So this is how much weight per volume. So like if you ship something, Christmas present for your aunt for whatever by FedEx, the weight per volume is one of those things they look at. So the shipping efficiency, well, this one is 2.73. This one is 1.17, and this is, again, not very good. In other words, we're shipping a lot of air is what this says. This next one is weight per watts. So this is the material efficiency. This is how much stuff we're putting into the bulb in order to get the light out of it. So this one has the least amount of materials to get the light out of it. This one has more material in the bulb to get the light out. And this one has close to double this. And then if you look at the amount of watts difference, this is really not good. Okay, this last one is volume weight, and this again affects shipping. So this is volume per weight. What happens is if you're shipping feathers, this number will get really big. So it's very inefficient to ship feathers unless you compress them. The smaller the number here, the better. This is like golf. So this is the most efficient thing to ship in volume per weight. This is next, and I mean this is 2.5 times different, and then this is not quite double again. So across the bottom here, this big bulb is just financially not a very good choice. I mean, it's a killer in the weight. It's a killer in the amount of efficiency for brightness. It's not efficient to store in your warehouse, or it's not efficient to ship. The amount of material you have to put in it to get out a certain amount of light is not very good. Okay, so let's take another look at this. Let's pretend like these are all the same size, and we'll focus around the 5 watts. We'll just normalize everything to 5 watts. In other words, we'll scale it like a scale model. We'll scale it to this 5 watt thing. Okay, so first note is everything over here stays the same. It's just the way the math is. So we'll look at this. A is still 5 watts, shipping is still 15, and the box volume hasn't changed. But we're going to normalize these. We're going to take this 8 watt bulb and we're going to pretend like it's 5 watts, and we're going to change these numbers in proportion. We're going to scale them. So, okay, first thing we look at is brightness here. We've changed this we've made this 5, it is 5. We've changed this to 5, and we've changed this to 5, and then we've shifted these numbers in proportion. Okay, so the weight in grams, 15 grams, that didn't change. But if this were scaled to 5 watts, this would be 21.9 grams, 22 grams, still heavier than this bulb. And that shouldn't be, I guess, surprising. And this, if we scale it down, is, a very miserable 35.7, still double the small. Then if we look at the box, which again affects our shipping and inventory, we have 5.5 grams. Again, it didn't change, or sorry, centimeters, cubic centimeters. This is what, roughly 3 times, and this is even more. So yeah, I mean, it's very clear that over time, what's going to happen is the finances are going to drive the industry to go from this thing to this thing. And there are already bulbs that are very close to this output, light output, that are this size. So I'm going to predict that what happens is we're going to go from this kind of thing to this kind of thing. They've already got adapters to put in into your light bulb sockets. And yeah, so I expect, say in the next 10 years, that everything will be this size of this small bulb. Okay, well that was it. Just something strange to contemplate if you're out wondering how you should develop your house. If you're remodeling your house and you're wondering what kind of sockets, fixtures, whatever to use, you might want to consider this. Okay, well that was it. Hope you found it useful and interesting in your home electrical projects.